Hello, Cazgem here, and today we are taking a look at Sunset Harbour, the great new DLC from Paradox Interactive for City Skylines. So, today I want to take a really quick look at one new feature of this in particular, the fishing industry. Now, the fishing industry is a really wonderful, wonderful thing, and you can see here I've got lots of boats in here. These guys are getting anchovies. We've got people up here getting some salmon. We've got some people that are going out this way for some tuna. It's a really wonderful tool, and some people have been struggling with how to properly set up routes, and I want to go ahead and demonstrate a little bit of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up a new fishery. We're going to go and set one up right around here. Actually is a great place for this demonstration. So obviously, to place down a fishing harbor, you're going to go to your Industries tab, and then you're going to go ahead and want to grab the fishing harbors. There we go. So Industries, fishing, and then fishing harbor. Should be a familiar process for those that have done a lot of modded Skylines in the past. And just for argument's sake, we're going to go ahead and place this guy down right here as a basic harbor. Now let's go ahead and connect it up to a couple of roads. Just for simplicity's sake, we'll go ahead and just pull it right under this bridge. Yeah. And these guys can just drive from over here. There we go. Nice little spindly road. Nothing too bad. And so now let's go ahead and get them some water pulled from over here. Relatively straight line, always welcome. And then we'll go ahead and grab power from this guy over here, which shouldn't be too difficult. There we go. I guess just for demonstration purposes. And now we've got connection to everything, except it's still missing two things. One, the electricity, which just got filled, and you'll still see a transit icon. Now, this, you'll notice, has a different iconography below it than what you normally see for a missing road, and that is exclusively for missing boat route. So what you're going to do is you're going to go back to Industries, back to fishing, and then that first option, fishing route. Now, what you're going to do, you're going to notice that all fishing harbors have two notches where you can link into, two nodes. So what you can do is you can take these nodes and you can just draw straight in, and let's just say I want to get some anchovies. So just go straight there. And look, anchovies. But you'll notice that these guys are still having trouble. Interesting. So what we can do is we can go ahead and just loop this back, and you'll note that you can't re-intersect anywhere along the existing line. You can cross an existing line, but you cannot directly lock into that at all. That is a no-no. However, if you come on over here, you can go ahead and link into here, and now this harbor will start sending out fishing ships. Check it out. Nice and easy, right? So this guy is a basic fishing boat, and he is going to go ahead and load up, and he is catching anchovies right now and some salmon. He's catching a little bit of everything because this is a generic fishing boat. He's just going to gather whatever's in the water around him, and he is going to loop around and come back in. And something you want to note is this bar right here that's filling up. So you're going to note that this guy is at about 60% right now, and then he's going to start turning into the harbor. And check that out, he is not fully loaded. So that is not quite inefficient. So the best way to do this is to make sure that you can get as close to 100% efficiency as possible, either slightly under or slightly over. So let's take a look at what our options are. So if we want to go ahead and just loop it a little bit further, what we could do is fairly simply demolish that. And again, you can demolish those fishing routes as long as you have the fishing tab open, like I just did. So let's go ahead and loop just a little bit further this way. Pull up and in like so. And now this route is complete again. And now we should start seeing these fishing boats get really close to, if not hitting, 100% loaded, which will give us a better efficiency because you don't want them riding around too long with a full catch, but at the same time, you want to make sure that they have enough time to go out and catch as many fish as possible. And it's pretty much the same percentage. There's no variance. So right here, that's technically a little too far. So if you want to really make it as efficient as possible, you can break open the fishing tab one more time. And you can decide, okay, here's how we're going to do it. We're going to cut it right here. And we are going to go ahead and do this. And now this guy's going to need to be a good example because he's going to get really close to 100%. In fact, look, 99%. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to bump that out ever so slightly more, just so that there's a little bit more catch time. That's not going to add much, but that'll easily add 1% extra. And now you're going to see this guy more than likely hit exactly 100% as he pulls into the harbor. And that is maximum efficiency fishing. And there we go, 100% as he comes into harbor. So this is, technically speaking, a perfect efficiency fishing harbor. Now, just to assure that there aren't any problems, we're going to go ahead and plop down a fish market so that they can, you know, just distribute their goods immediately. So let's go ahead and just plop that in right here. And we'll go ahead and make sure that they have water as well, just for demonstration purposes. And so now, the next thing I want to do is showcase the individual ones. So let's go ahead and grab an individual fishing harbor. Let's grab one for anchovies or salmon would be good. Let's go ahead and just do an individual one for anchovies, just so we can really see these guys line up against each other. So you've got anchovy fishing harbor as the second option. We'll go ahead and plop that in. Grab our water pipes, plop you in here, grab the road bit, and we'll go ahead and connect you right like so. A little wonky. Let's go ahead and straighten that out. There we go. Perfect and beautiful. Now, we need to go ahead and connect this up just the same way we did. And I'm hooking it up this close because I want you guys to see just how close you can do these and how much they can overlap. So check that out. I can have these guys overlap and come right over here and get anchovies. And you'll note that I don't care that they are intersecting with salmon, because the salmon are not going to actually be fished up by these guys, because these are specialty boats. They are only here to get their anchovies. So now, let's watch this guy as he comes out of harbor and starts fishing. Here we go. Here's our anchovy fishing boat. So we're going to go ahead and follow him around as he fishes up. And you'll note, he is fishing at a much slower rate. However, he is able to hold more, technically speaking, and he is able to move faster. Now, in the end, you do want to use these guys as much as possible, but at first you always have just the generic fishing harbors. And right now, he's going faster because he has no fish to catch, and then you're going to see him slow back down as soon as he gets to the anchovies. So you'll see anytime they're fishing, they are slowing down, they're taking their time, casting their nets, doing their job. But if they're over a bit of water that has fish that they are not eligible to fish, then they will not slow down to actually catch anything. And this may inadvertently be a very good route. We'll have to see here in a second, but it looks like we'll be pretty darn near 100% by the time this guy pulls into harbor. Look at that. That's really perfect. He's only just over by a little bit, and you know what? I'll call that good. That is a very efficient harbor, especially considering that was the first try. Now, a couple of other things of note. So you'll notice that these guys have more freight trucks. They can carry more fish. 32 tons. 30 tons. Oh, I apologize. They actually hold the same amount of fish. The thing that is different is that they appear to be able to send out a few more boats, at least in my experience. Now, the next thing of note is it does have a couple of extra workers, and that seems to scale properly. But the last thing that you do have to realize is that there is an efficiency marker. So fishing route efficiency, 100%. Fishing route efficiency, 100%. So if you're too far under or too far over that 100% mark in your fishing routes, you're going to see this number go down, and that's going to let you know just how much or how inefficient your routes are. So let's just, as an example, let's lay down a different harbor. Let's lay down a salmon harbor. So let's go ahead and grab salmon fishing harbor. We're going to set this harbor up inefficiently just to see what that's going to look like. And we're also going to demonstrate a couple of other things. So you can use curves on this, and again, this is default vanilla. You can use curves on the fishing routes, so that you don't have to sit there and have super rigid lines. And that's something that I haven't seen a lot of people discover, but hopefully people are willing to do so. And you can also kind of zip around and have things loop around, and it's kind of cool the ways that you can have these boats interact. It is certainly cool, to me at least. Now let's go ahead and let's pull this forward a little bit more. Okay, fine. We'll go ahead and have you pull in here. You know, these guys are not very efficient. They're just hanging out in the anchovy waters, even though they're supposed to be fishing up salmon. So let's go ahead and we will watch them as they go out and fish, and we'll go ahead and make sure that they're hooked up. So let's keep an eye on this guy. So you're going to note that he's actually going... That's the anchovy boat, waiting on the salmon boat. Salmon boat should be arriving in 3, 2, 1. There we go. Alright, there's our salmon fishing boat. And now you'll see that this guy, he crossed the salmon water, but now he's in anchovy water. He has no water to fish, so he's sitting there just going really fast, really efficiently. And then catching salmon, looping back around, and he's probably going to start catching anchovies now. Yep. Nope, just cruising. Yep. So he's just cruising instead of catching anchovies there, and so he's really not very efficient. This is a horrible fishing route. These guys are like, why are you telling me to fish right here? This is awful. And so we pull that in, look, only 30% efficiency. And so now you see the difference here. Low fishing route efficiency. That is horrid. And at that point, you might as well not be using these because it's just not good. It's absolutely no good. Now, what have we learned from this? One, you need to make sure that you actually fill up your boats. And two, you need to make sure to place your routes intelligently. So, if I see here, it makes sense to put salmon pretty much anywhere along this river as long as you actually hang out in the salmon waters. But it wouldn't make sense for me to hook up an anchovy harbor up here, because look how far they'd have to go just to be able to catch anchovies. So this is something you'll have to keep in mind. And there are some really efficient areas for all types of fish, like right here, you could get all the fish right here. That's a great area for fishing. Now, this is all just a very cursory look at how you catch fish in Sunset Harbor. Now, the last thing of note that I did not mention yet is the fish farms. So, you do have the fishing farm, if I can find that here. There we go. So this is just a generic fish farm, and it's basically just going to work. You don't have to tell it to get anything in particular. You don't have to tell it, oh, this has to be in salmon, fish, anchovy, any of that. This just produces fish. That's all you really need to know. So there's that building. And then you do have a couple of other buildings in the fishing industry that are also quite useful. So you've got the algae farm, which can be, you know, pretty good, and you can also export it, and you can actually even send this to the fish market, though in my experience this isn't as profitable as other aspects of the fishing industry. And then last but not least, the seaweed farm, same concept. It's basically a better version of that algae farm. And then obviously your last two components, fish factory, then fish market. Fish factory produces commercial goods, fish market produces local happiness and gives you a little bit of, well, it just gives you a place to dump your fish, gives you a little bit of profit. Anyways, so that is a brief cursory overlook at the fishing industry. Let me know, do you enjoy this new DLC? Do you like the fishing industry? And also be sure to, if you liked the video, hit subscribe, hit like, and be sure to come back later for more City Skylines Sunset Harbor content. And also be sure to check out the stream at twitch.tv/Cazgem, where I go live 5 days a week with City Skylines. Until next time, this is Cazgem signing out. See ya!